Be honest with me. Is it doing the most to be straightforward, not only in romantic interests, but also within friendships and potential collaborations? I ask that because I'm in the process of wanting to put myself out there. And more so because I recognize that I work better in collaboration with others. I get more energized. There's accountability and a social pressure to it, but also I just have something to bounce my energy off of. And I don't know about you, but I'm at a point in my life where there is no time to waste. I say this in a sense of, I feel like we were at a point in history where it takes a lot for us to trust others, which is really unfortunate when you think about it. I get it. I get it from a very reptilian, primitive, caveman point of view, where we're looking for safety and security and survival. But I feel like, and I speak for just being in the West, I want to recognize that it's different all over the world. But I feel like specifically being in the West and being in the unique situation of being marketed the propaganda that it is the land of opportunities and the land of milk and honey, and that everybody can come here and to make a new life for themselves and not be attached to the society that they came from and the ways that it was ran, such as being a part of a caste system or anything like that. Recognizing that this country is a country of immigrants. And yeah, so I just feel like, it's been 100 years where travel has been more accessible. Obviously, it's actually less than 100 years, way less than 100 years. Travel was for the wealthy and the elite at some point, but now it's more accessible than ever. And so I feel like whatever propaganda or stories or messages, or even, I shall even say lies, of what it is to be in the West, there's already this, I would hope to think that there's already this precursor to know that you're not going to just be with the same kind of people, that it's not going to be a monolith, that it's going to be diverse, that you're going to be walking on the same sidewalk with someone that doesn't look like you and does not have the same values as you, doesn't have the same cultural nuances, doesn't have the same language as you. And so, and I don't know, I feel like there's like correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just kind of thinking off the cuff right now, but that there's an understanding that there's going to be people here that don't look like you, don't act like you, don't believe in the same things as you do. And so I guess it's interesting to me. I get it why there's still that level of survivalship. If anything, probably the survivorship and wanting to survive and not cause any problems, not cause any trouble is probably heightened. I say that again, coming from immigrant parents. I even say that now being an immigrant myself, like you don't want to rock the boat, especially with the locals. But the locals, yes, I say particularly in the part of Montreal that I'm at, yeah, like we obviously stand out for being queer brown people, queer Asian brown people in the neighborhood. And it seems like it's predominantly white, but Montreal itself is extremely diverse. And so it's like maybe on the neighborhood setting, but like also acknowledge the city that you're in or in the area that you're in. And so I don't know, maybe that's naive of me to think that that's probably the thought processes of being in the West, that you're going to be surrounded by people that don't look like you. Nonetheless, I guess I feel like in terms of the state of the world and especially building alternatives and building and contributing to a new society, I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I have done as much work as I can at this point to shed as much of my ego as possible, to shed as much as my attachment to my intersecting identities as possible. I want to be aware of them. I want to acknowledge them. I want them to be a part of the conversation. I want to honor them and being a part of my experience and my lens and how I see the world. But I think that there's a difference between a lens and a veil. And as someone who is recently married, I'm understanding more and more in the ritual of lifting the veil. That's not how our ceremony went down. Doesn't mean that it's not happening a million times all over the world. Seeing that synonymous lifting of the veil from the bride, I feel like I'm at a point where that symbolic ritual is actually not meant just for our partners, our spouse, our significant others, our husband, our wives, our husbands' husbands, our wives' wives, our partners' partners. And I don't know about you, but my partner, we call each other husbands. So we're redefining what that means I guess for me, I'm at a point where like I just want to lift the veil, not only in wanting to be reminded of the ultimate truth that we're all one, that we're all whole, that we're all connected, but why am I reserving that just for one person if you believe in monogamy and just that path, you know? Like for me, it's like, how can I experience that with everybody? How can I lift the veil between myself and another person and realizing that we're one? And that's exactly what the symbolism of marriage is, to become one, right? But like, what does 9 billion become one look like? And how do I practice that on a day-to-day basis? And so for me, what that looks like on a day-to-day basis is I'm at the point where, as you all know, I'm in a new career and I'm learning and understanding that becoming a creator, and let me rephrase that, being a creator means connection and collaboration and collectiveness. And yes, that's what that means on a virtual space. But again, what does that look like in the real world? And so I'm sharing this because I'm at the point where I want to lift the veil from myself and be honest, open, and transparent with people online and also in person. And because I'm at a point in my life, I'm in a season in my life where it is spring season, that means I'm ready to connect, to collaborate, and more importantly, contribute and get to work and to support others in building their dreams and in hopes that we can be strategic enough and intentional enough that they're also helping me build mine. And so I feel like I'm just at a place right now where I don't have time to waste. Not because I think that, you know, anything can happen out in the world. Yes, I do think anything can happen in the world. I also don't think that I'm going to get hit by a car, but who knows, right? Anything can happen in the world and anything can happen to me on an individual level. I'm not saying like I don't have time to waste in terms of like a hustle culture perspective. I'm saying like I don't have time to waste because why waste it? Why take the time to put in I don't know how many touch points you need to have with someone until you trust them. I think online it's like, I don't know, 30. And then maybe in person it's like 13. I'm not quite sure. But I think maybe that's the case because we're so disconnected from our body and that we are so conditioned to move with our minds. And I want to honor our minds and what it does, but girl, sometimes she's tricky. And I don't know about you, but I got a few monkeys in there. And then I just learned that there's a monkey in there that's doing their own thing regardless of the other monkeys. So it's like, I can sit here all day, and I've spent years doing this. I can sit here all day and try to figure out what's going on in here and try to be strategic and plan, try to mind read people and try to figure out if I could trust them. And, you know, some people have different perspectives where it's like, you got to earn my trust. And then there's some people where I'm going to give you trust, but then if you lose it, then it's gone. Like I'm not a mind reader. I'm not here for the mind games anymore. Like that is exhausting. And so I'm just at a point where I just want to be transparent. I want to lift the veil for other people because they're too scared to lift the veil. But I want to lift the veil not only from myself, but between each other and just be like, hey, this is what I'm trying to build. This is what I want to experience. This is what I desire. This is what I potentially can see for us. This is what I potentially would like to collaborate with you about. And I say that because that's how my brain works. My brain can see the connection very quickly. Like the moment someone tells me an idea, my brain's like, do. Like it's starting to build it out for you. And I'm like, yeah, this is easy. Now all you have to do is get started. And then that's when people start freaking out. And they're like, what? How do I get started? I'm like, for me, that's the easy part, but that's neither here or there. I'm saying that I trust myself and I am continuously building a relationship with my body. And I'm constantly tending to my energy by taking care of myself, by learning more about myself, by being aware of what is being transmuted within me, within this vessel. And I trust at this point, and I'm continuously going to be building this relationship with myself, but at this point, I trust myself enough that when I meet someone and I feel energized, I feel excited, and I feel aligned, I'm willing to be honest, open, and transparent about it. I'm like, hey, I mess with you. I mess with you heavy, actually. I think that there's potential for us to collaborate, for us to connect, for us to work together, for us to build, for us to be friends, whatever the case may be. And, a lot of times we talk about people who are very straightforward in dating, that you have to be straightforward in dating, especially if you're out in the club, or if you see someone at a coffee shop or you see someone at the library and like you feel that feeling in your body. You're like, ooh, that feels magnetic. I feel attracted to them. I want to say something. And it's in that moment. Are you going to say something? So I feel like that social interaction is accepted to be transparent and honest about your interests in a potentially romantic partner, or romantic hookup, whatever the case may be. But how come we can't be like that with each other? How come it's not quite socially as acceptable to be like that with people that we're not sexually or romantically interested in? At least for me, as I'm trying to navigate this world, I want that to be my normal. I just want to be honest, open, and transparent about who I feel a connection with, who I feel excited around, who I feel energized around, and who I also want to connect with and work with and collaborate with, and like allow my brain to be like, hey, like this person, there's alignment here, that there's synergy here, right? And maybe you can have a synergistic energy exchange. And can you get over yourself? Can you lift the veil and be honest, open, and transparent with them and say that to them? And I'm going to say, yes. Yes, I can, brain. I can do that and communicate that for you. I'm literally just coming off the cuff of connecting with a potential collaborator. I just felt the feelings of trying not to be too forward or trying not to be too much or trying not to be too honest. How can I share my intentions and being like, hey, I feel excited. I would actually like to explore what it looks like to go beyond this initial first date. Let's be honest. And yeah, I guess again, I'm coming off the cuff of this. There is no script. I'm just thinking in my mind, like, what would that look like in the society that we're building if we lifted the veil between ourselves and others? And I say this again, specifically in the West. And I say this for anybody. I mean, I feel like people, you are coming from a similar country. Obviously, there's a point of connection and it's much easier to have that veil lifted. But like, again, how does two become one? How does 2 become 9 billion? And obviously, I'm probably just being naive and optimistic about this, and it may not happen in my lifetime, but I know for me that it's made all the difference in my marriage and putting meaning to that ritual, because I actually don't really know like the actual like meaning of that ritual, but I'm just kind of putting it together based off of my experience of working in the church and seeing the symbolism that happened with traditional marriages or marketed and such. And I'm just like, what if there's actually been a lie that we're separated, that this veil separates us? And again, a veil is actually still translucent. It's still transparent. You can still see through it. It's not a solid curtain. It's a veil. It's like, I can see somebody over there. I can see this other person on the other side of this veil. There's definitely another being over there. What does it look like to fully lift it and to really see them for who they are and what they are and who they declare themselves to be in their full, whole, expressed humanity? And so, yeah, I say this because I'd like to practice this beyond my marriage, beyond my friends, beyond my family. But let's be honest, sometimes there's veils in between that too. So what does this look like as a daily practice? Well, for me in this moment, that looks like telling a potential collaborator that I would like to collaborate beyond the first one, if it feels aligned and it was a vibe and it was energizing for both of us. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to give you permission. I want to give you permission not only in your own life, but I also want to give you permission with even interacting with me. Like if you're like, you know what, you're a little all over the place, but I still fuck with you. Like I still vibe with you. And I would like to connect beyond this. By all means, like then let us have our first initial date and let's talk, let's connect. And if there's potentials to collaborate and contributing to this new society that we're building together, then let us talk about it. Why waste any time? Life is too short. We know it. I don't know about you, but the days are going by like breathing at this point. So I personally believe, why not? Why not go for it? Why not shoot your shot? If we can do that with romantic and sexual interests, why can't we do that with other people from all around the world, whether in person or online? And so I give you permission not only to connect with me, and you can do that on Instagram at IamKShort, but more importantly, I give you permission to do that with others. Lift the veil from between you and others in your day-to-day life? Are we really strangers? Are we really all that different? Are we really that separated? I don't know about you, but I mentioned to this hopefully soon to be long-term collaborator, I was like, we are hearing too many stories of the extremes of how different and separated and divided that we are. We know this, you know this, but I was telling them, and I think that they would agree with me, there's actually a lot more people in the middle that we just don't hear from, we just don't see. Or let's be honest, we're just not paying attention because we're paying too much attention to the extremes. So how do we meet people in the middle? How do we meet ourselves in the middle? And how do we just lift this veil from this propaganda that we're all separated and divided and actually go back to our truth, our deep, knowing, internal truth that we're whole and that we're one? I encourage you, after this video, if you've watched it up until this point, I encourage you, if there's someone in your life, or if there's a new connection that you've recently met, or if there's someone in these streets that you vibe with from afar, you like their outfit, or you're curious about what they're reading, whatever the case may be, I encourage you to lift the veil and to connect. And be like, hey, I noticed this, I saw this, I'm curious. Can you tell me more about that? And like to trust yourself and to trust the feelings and the energy that's moving through your body, that when you see someone and you're on a similar vibration or a similar wavelength, how can you name that and give you both or many or all permission to connect? Because what else are we here for? If it's not connection, if it's not relationships, if it's not friendships, if it's not collaboration, if it's not contribution, if it's not creating, then what are we here for? I believe we're here for all of those things. So again, if you would like to do any of those things with me, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. If you vibe with this video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want to see what this future collaboration looks like, because they will be showing up on this channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Stay rascal, role model.